Hello. So this is my this is something I made for the first ever cinematic I've ever created in a game. Um well, in UE4 or UE5 altogether. But this is really simple. What I found is it includes techniques I've already done before, and so to make it a little bit more interesting, I decided to add some sounds to the cinematic when it plays. So I'm just going to quickly show you what this looks like. So you play the game, you're in this hallway. Obviously there would be more before this, or there would be a story or whatever, and as the player walks through here, the sound begins and the cinematic starts as well. You'd see at the end there was my gun floating. I've done some research on how I can fix that, but I'm not sure how yet. That's something I'm gonna have to look into, especially when we do VR for the group projects. But I think for now it's not something I should waste my time on, especially with the time frame that we have. You notice that I had the sound, as I said. It's just something to make it a bit more interesting and hopefully get the player feel a bit more, what's a good word, like involved in the game, rather than just it's just a still cinematic for the player to see. I'm going to show you really quickly how I did that. So it's really simple actually. So I created a cinematic with camera cuts. So each keyframe is a movement of the camera, every rotation and everything. You can see as it moves, the camera moves as well with it. So that's how you create the cinematic. And then over here is the actual like blueprinting that I did. So as the player walks over the trigger box, it casts straight to the first person character or whatever character we're going to use in the group project. This is so that the cinematic actually shows on screen, instead of it just happening and the player not knowing. Disable movement so that the player doesn't move and it confuses them when they join back. They've just done this cinematic and they were spamming the keyboard for whatever reason, and now they're in a different place than before. It just makes it a bit more clean when they come back in to play the game. I start the sound first before the cinematic plays. This is because the sound itself, it takes a couple of seconds to start up, and I just wanted this to kind of start up at the same time as the sequence. So I thought if I have that small like advantage to the sound, it'll be a bit better. And then I had this delay is how long the cinematic plays for, and then as soon as the cinematic has stopped, then the movement is back on and the actor for the trigger box is destroyed. This is so that when the player starts back up again, they don't just trigger the cinematic. So I'm just going to show you one more time. The alarm starts, cinematic happens, and you can see at the end the gun is just floating, and the sound actually keeps on going on afterwards, so it isn't just a cinematic thing where it stays there, which I thought was pretty cool for me to do. For the sound itself, it was actually I actually didn't do much for it whatsoever. I just have, when the event starts, it's not actually, when the player presses play, it doesn't actually just straight away go off. And when it is activated, it fades in and it fades out, rather than just it randomly starts or randomly stops, and it just makes it feel a bit more clean when actually playing the game. So I hope this gave a good insight to how I created the first kind of cinematic. I'm planning, this is the first one I've ever made, So I'm planning to do a few more over this 2 weeks half term and see how well I can improve compared this to possible future ones that I'm going to do. So, yeah,